the main event tonight was a continuation of what we saw for Jon Moxley at All Out. A guy who –
that was a huge pop.
I mean, this guy is – we've talked about it, and I want to reestablish this. I think Jon Moxley is surveying the landscape of AEW, and I think he's seeing he's basically no more Mr. Nice Guy. Moxley is you could tell this dude has got that fire burn. It's an inferno inside of him. Yep. I mean, you could go back to that promo where he basically just absolutely went after everyone on the roster. He's at a point where he's desperate. Anybody who wants a piece, they can have a taste. You want a taste? You want a taste?
Does anyone want a taste? It was brutal. I mean, we saw, like you said, continuation, just throwing haymaker after haymaker after haymaker, slap after slap after slap, kick to the face, just trading, going toe to toe, biting each other. We saw blood. We saw physicality. The only thing I'm going to say about this match is that I think, for being such a forbidden door spotlight main event, I think we got robbed of the marathon match that these two can have. It was a much shorter match than expected. I think the pacing of the show got a little out of their hands a little bit, and this was essentially the fall of it, and so they had to. We saw more entrance and more celebration than more match, unfortunately, and for this kind of stakes to be that high and this kind of importance of eyes on the product, this guy's, Suzuki's debut here in AEW, I think he got robbed a little short of that. And so, but that being said, this is someone that
happen a lot. I mean, that is and we are uplifting positive coverage here.
Right.
But being honest, even in a positive way, we can be honest in a positive way. There are episodes of Dynamite where there's so much is going on that the main event does get squeezed. We've seen this happen more than once, SPD. So I think that's a fair point. Did the Malachi Black versus Dustin Rhodes match need to go on as long as it did? There are examples. Did we need to see all the content that we saw tonight? I don't know. I get your point. But when I look at this match and I see it, man, this was just about. And it would have been great to have a longer showcase for a debuting talent. But to me, I just felt like this was one of those matches where it was like, okay, Moxley's in his hometown. This is not supposed to be a back and forth war. This is supposed to be Moxley coming out, getting a huge pop for Wild Thing, kicking some ass, celebrating with his hometown crowd and heading home. I mean, this kind of gave me some of those Stone Cold Steve Austin in his heyday vibes, and Moxley's hitting on that level right now. Yeah. Just an ass kicker, no nonsense, balls to the wall mentality. Bonds, what did you think about this? Were you with me or are you with SPD?
I'm a little bit in the middle here. I did struggle with the fact that 4 minutes of the match that was 7 minutes long was in a picture-in-picture. I would have liked to have seen more of the match if that was going to be the case. Maybe have the commercial before their entrances and just kind of have them go. Right. That being said, I do understand that this was a big pop moment for Moxley. He got to go over in his hometown in a big way. Felt like maybe this shouldn't have maybe been the main event. This could have maybe been earlier in the show.
Could have opened the show.
You could have opened the show. SPD was calling for main event Malachi. You could have flip-flopped him. I get it. You're right.
Right. Just because of how much time it was given, I think that it didn't really feel like a main event, unfortunately. But we are spoiled on Dynamite most of the time where we get these pay-per-view worthy main events all the time. And so maybe this one just felt a little bit underwhelming because it wasn't that. But again, it was a good match. It just felt a little short. We didn't get to see more than half of it in picture-in-picture, which is unfortunate. Right. And, it didn't have that big match vibe that we're used to seeing to close out the shows recently. But it's still entertaining to watch in its own right.
Yeah, I think that's a fair step. I think that's a fair balance between SPD and I think that's a good take. Yeah, and when we look at the card, starting the show off with Moxley could have been on fire, right? But I think that, again, you said it. AEW tends to spoil us, and we get a chance to see some of these crazy main events all the time that take place. Yeah. Maybe sometimes the expectations are crazy.